placed third place at the World Championships this year. So we're very proud of their accomplishments.
Starting to eat and having a good time. So my name is Tang Yamash, President of the Buddhist Temple. I'd like to welcome you to our Obon Festival. So you know, we've been doing this since 1960. The only time we missed doing this was when we were building this building in 1994 and during the COVID. So if I did my arithmetic correctly, this is a 61st installment of the Obon Festival. And this year happens to be our 100th year since founding. We were founded here by Japanese immigrant in 1924. So it's another reason for a big celebration. So we have a lot of food, drinks, many performances, demonstrations, many of them happening simultaneously. So please look at the program, make sure you don't miss anything. But we will be perfectly happy if you just stay here and eat and drink. So for the next 2 hours, we're going to have performances here, starting with a jazz band, followed by a performance of Chinese dances. So that'll take about 2 hours. Please pay attention and give them your attention. Today we will finish up finale with the Taiko performance on the outdoor stage. That's going to happen at 3:30 or 3 o'clock, excuse me. And short service after that, before we get on to the main event, which is the Obon dance. It's the whole purpose of this is to do the dance, so we should all go out there and participate. So that will be at 4 p.m. The service will be 3:30. The final event will be back to here. We'll do a raffle drawing at 4:45, and we'll try to conclude everything by 5 o'clock. So it takes a lot of volunteers to do this sort of event. A lot of people put in time to do this. Thank you very much. And we have high school kids helping us. They've been working since Friday to help us prepare for this. They're in a light blue shirt. So please give them some food. Thank them for their work, but do not give them any alcohol. We'll get into trouble. So I want to hand this over to Reverend Jay Shinseki. This will be his last official act because after this he's going to retire. So he's finishing his long career as a minister on July 31st. So it's a bit of a sad, but we'll let him finish up with the invocation here, with a little explanation of this event. So without much ado, Reverend Jay.
Thank you, Tom. Good morning, everyone. It's soon to be afternoon. I want to welcome you to the Salinas Buddhist Temple 2024 Odori. And today, as Tom mentioned, I hope you'll enjoy the music, you'll enjoy the food, you'll enjoy the drink, you'll enjoy the fellowship that you experienced today with family and friends. And I hope that you'll take a moment to reflect upon your ji-chan, your ba-chan, your mother, your father, all the past generations that have allowed you to live today. and enjoy today. And as you do that, you are celebrating your life in deep gratitude to your family members. And this is what Obon is about. It's a celebration of life, a celebration of what you have and you're allowed to do because of your parents, grandparents, and generations beyond. So if you'll just take a moment to reflect upon their lives, their contribution to your life, and then you can really, really enjoy and celebrate today with all of us. So in the opening of our 2024 Odori here in Salinas, I'm going to ask you to put your hands together in Gasho as we contemplate that which we have received and for that which we are truly grateful. Namo Amidabus. Namo Amidabus. Namo Amidabus. Thank you very much. Enjoy, everyone.
Thank you much, President Yamashita and the Reverend. So to start your first stage, I'd like to introduce Taichi and the Sunshine Fan, led by Kirk Tamura. They are from the Salinas area, San Jose area, and many of the members are members of the Chidori band of San Jose. So just enjoy and good music. 最初にサンノゼのケイティ&サンシャインバンドをご紹介いたします。メンバーの方々は大概の人が千鳥バンドのメンバーです。ではよろしくお願いいたします。
coming here, right? Thanks for coming.
Thank you. That song was called Basie Made of Silver. And we're KT and the Sunshine Band from San Jose, Japan. And mainly we do original music. And so I hope you like that. We're going to do another tribute to Count Basie called Relaxing with Basie. Relaxing with baby.
Is that relaxing?
Okay, we're going to have Melina plays flute, sing a song that she wrote called Songless Blues.
Turn it around, backwards, forwards, even under the ground. Above, space in the sky. Doesn't matter, oh, come on, right. Songless blue, songless blue, songless blue,
Okay, this next song is written by Kurt, called Temple Lantern. Temple Lantern in 5/4. This is our third year playing at Salinas Adult School. It's so much fun. We're so grateful to be invited. So we really appreciate playing for you. The next song is written by me called Brisa de Goya, and it's Portuguese for Bay Breeze. Thank you. Now back to Kurt and his comment called Petal of a Rose.
Attention please. There will be a tea ceremony demonstration at the main chapel starting at 12:30. 12:30 there will be a tea ceremony demonstration by Urasenke Monterey Taiko. 12時30分より本堂においてお茶のセレモニーがあります。北の裏線モントレイベイにお茶のデモンストレーションがあります。
middle of the road.
Shinobu Nagashima as Teishu or hostess, and Krista Hani, assistant or Hondo. Toshimi Fukushima, the first guest, and Elliot Johnson, the second guest. I am Tomoko Ogaki. We are members of the Chado Urasenke Tankokai Monterey Association. よろしくお願いいたします。First, guest enters the Tashitsu. She goes to the center of the Tashitsu. We call it Tokonoma. On Tokonoma, there is a square-shaped paper with calligraphy. We call it shikishi, which is most important part of tea ceremony. The calligraphy is wa or harmony. Also means peace, which is today's theme of the tea ceremony. To show respect, the guest bow to the tokonoma and appreciate shikishi and flowers. After tokonoma, guest also goes to in front of the tea kettle and appreciate all the tea utensils. To show respect, they give a slight bow. Teishu and Hondo or assistant enters the tea room. All of them bow very brightly. First of all, Hondo or assistant serves sweet to the first guest. Then, Teishu or hostess in Japanese, hostess or Teishu in Japanese enters a tea room. And prepare to purify the utensils. Teishu first purifies natsume or tea containers with silk red cloth or fukusa in Japanese. She folds the fukusa again to purify bamboo scoop or chashaku in Japanese. Then she starts to warm up chawan or tea bowl with a scoop of water. With hot water, she warms up chawan. Also, she checks bamboo whisk or chasen in Japanese. It also softens the chasen. Then she wipes chawan with cloth. Heishu said to the first guest, "Please enjoy sweet." And hostess making matcha or usucha in Japanese. Today's matcha is very special matcha made of tea leaves imported from Japan. She mixed the matcha with bamboo whisks or chasen very carefully to make a fluffy forms so that matcha gives away special aromas. Hondo or assistant serves the tea to the first guest. To drink the matcha, the guest appreciate and turn clockwise twice. Then Teishu is preparing the second bowl of the matcha. drinking tea, the guest wipes the rim of the chawan with fingers. Then appreciate the beauty of the chawan or chibo. Today's first guest chawan is made by Pamela Murakami. She is a professor of the porcelain art. In the tea ceremony, normally guests enjoy sweets first, then drink matcha. So that the taste of the tea becomes really nice. The second bowl of today is kochi, made by Kazuko Ogaki. She is a porcelain artist living in Kyoto, Japan. Teishu is now cleaning the first guest table, wachawan. Teishu said to the guest, I will finish. With cold water, the teishu is cleaning chasen or tea whisks and also chawan or chibo. Teishu clean chashaku or bamboo scoop with fukusa or red cloth. then 亭主 add a scoop of cold water to the kettle. When 亭主 put the lid or the water container, first guest asked her to show them natsume and chashaku, tea container and bamboo scoop. To show the guests, 亭主 purifies the natsume with the fukusa again. First, she purifies the lid of the natsume. And purifies the ring of the natsume. Then Hondo brings natsume and chashaku to the first guest. First guest start to appreciate natsume first. She gives a slight bow to the natsume and appreciate. After appreciation, she bows again. After appreciation of the natsume, they appreciate the beauty of the bamboo scoop or chashaku. Hondo and guest bow with each other, and Hondo brings back natsume and chashaku for the teishu or hostess. appreciation for showing the utensils and asked about natsume and chashaku. Natsume is Rikyu style, middle size. Natsume and decorated by makie. Makie is wheel, wagon wheel, and flower. Made by Sogetsu Nakamura. Chashaku is made by 16th tea master, the Bonsai, and its poetic name is Summer Festival. They all stand. And all of them bow very brightly. At the end, the guests go to the center of the tashitsu and bow to the shikishi and flowers. Today's shikishi is written by Gaho. The calligraphy is wa or harmony. Today's flower is seasonal flowers, and the flower base is bamboo basket for summer. They also go to the in front of the kettle and appreciate all the tea ceremony utensils. This concludes our tea ceremony. We would like to give our sincere appreciation for all of you who are joining today. And now we will serve sweets and matcha for, I'm sorry, only 10 people who are sitting over there. Can you see the tea box? Yeah, over there. Sorry. And I hope 10 people, as a delegate of all the guests, will enjoy matcha and sweets. Again, thank you very much for joining us today.
So I'm going to give you a bit of an overview, and then I'm going to be showing you the basic arrangement that is book one, arrangement one, which will show you that you could actually go home and make a beautiful arrangement in an easy fashion with almost any material that you have, even from your own garden, or of course we always love our neighbors' gardens too, but we do ask first. But we get our materials from commercial stores, and in my area, I'm over near Monterey, Trader Joe's really has a wide variety of flowers and materials. We are members of the Monterey Bay chapter of Ikebana International, and we meet regularly in Pebble Beach at the community center there. It's free to enter Pebble Beach, so you can make quite a day of it if you get in free and go to one of our meetings. The other thing is that we also have a sign-up sheet here for anyone who would be interested in Sogetsu as an Ikebana school, and it's right there. I will mention that our very honored sensei, Jun Matsuoka, is here with us today, and both Sashiko and myself take lessons from her. I have actually been taking lessons from her since 2018, but Sashiko started earlier. I had a different teacher who unfortunately stopped teaching. But we will be demonstrating Sogetsu today. So Sogetsu, and the banner shows it, anytime, anywhere, by anyone. And I would go on to say, with any material. When Sogetsu was first started in 1927 by Sofu Tesugahara, he wanted to incorporate more than just natural flowers. So wood, plastic, metal are all things that can become a part of our arrangements. It is supposed to express ourselves. And so we have 5 books of instruction. As I mentioned earlier, this is book 1, arrangement 1. But after you've done, 5 books of about 20 each, it trains your eye. And so at the end of this, my arrangement, Sashiko, will be doing a freestyle arrangement that demonstrates her own personality, and more importantly, she made that vase. So I personally own several of Sashiko's vases. This, however, was given to me by my very first instructor, Carol Marquetta. So these go in a tokonoma, which right now we supply on a regular basis our Monterey Big Chapter. We supply Westland House in Monterey, which is hospice and care, an arrangement every 5 days. And we have done that for more than 25 years. A little skip during COVID, but you all understand that. But for one thing, we get so much good feedback from the people who come to visit patients. And we also get to practice a little bit. So just wanted to also say, as I go through this, I'm going to talk about some of the items. So the first piece that would go into the arrangement is the shin. Now, in the books, you'll find that this can be placed many different places, but this is the very first, and 10 degrees off vertical. And that's because the eye needs to be brought into the arrangement. Okay, the second piece, this is the soy, and it can be branches. These two could be branches. They could be different. One could be a branch, the other one could be a big leaf. So don't think that you have to have matching. I just wanted to do this because I found these beautiful orchids. These orchids are called dancing lady orchids. And I just, they dance. They really do help the eye. And this is called the soy, and it goes in at 45 degrees. And the best way is to get it in and then move it to the right angle. That's about 45 degrees. The third piece in my triangle is a thick eye. And so I wanted to continue with the idea of orchids. And I found this beautiful one that could, and first of all, you want to make sure it's looking up, looking at you. You don't want a flat arrangement. You want volume coming out the front and the back. So putting that in and hoping it's going to not be too heavy. Okay, and then I'm going to support that angle with some greenery. Green is always a wonderful thing in any arrangement and has its own position in terms of providing a support. Okay, and then I have a beautiful red anthurium, and that is going to go as my object first thing your eye will probably settle on, and put that there. And if you'll notice, I'm doing this from behind. That's something that Sogetsu requires its demonstrators to do. And so we have to practice a little bit. Otherwise, I would literally be cutting each piece underwater and then placing them. But I cut them earlier in order to be able to practice. So now I want to cover my Kenzan, but I also want to add a little depth. And so in this case, I have used anthurium leaves as well as leaves from the orchids. But it's not a requirement. Again, it's your own eye and what you like in the end. Now I'm going to have to come around the front for a second. Oh. And actually, you're lucky. Usually we knock over about 5 things while we're putting in the other ones, so maybe we can get this to go back and look at you. Okay, let me look at that. Does anybody have any questions while I'm checking out? Oh, yeah, definitely. Different angle.
You have some question about some container or some flower materials or some celery, you know, the anytime, anywhere by anyone. And then she explained about the foundation, basic skill, Shin. How much degree?
10 on this, and I see it's not 10 anymore. 10, 40, 45, and 75.
Why? So please ask.
And part of it is, you know, your eye has several things to look at and enjoy. And the last thing I would say about my arrangement is that my vase is large enough to have a pool of water around it. And in summer, we like pools of water. They're refreshing, they're cooling. And so I have this Kenzan pulled to the very back. If I were doing this in winter, then I probably would be using different materials, maybe pine or branches. I would have it closer to the front because water in winter might be uncomfortably cold. So that's another, just a concept that if you start doing Ikebana, you can realize that there's so many ways to demonstrate the beauty of the flowers. And again, we want some depth, some width, some height, and that's my arrangement. Thank you.
Thank you, my turn. Nancy explained about some basic information about the Sogetsu school, the Ikebana. We have a lot of schools in Japan. I heard that over 100 schools but almost oldest one is Ikenobo is oldest one. But almost 1,000 years ago, so in some in temple for play and they have some flowers. But I think that in Japan, so in some monk have some not only pushing some flowers. They think about this one, this one, this one. And in Japan, as you know, so in Japan love the simple and then not the too many stuff in there. That's why so Shin, Soe, support is. And then why we need this angle, so we need a space. Space is a Zen world, Z-N, Zen world. We respect the Zen world. That's why when you see this angle is very not nature, and we respect the nature things, not the perfect symmetry, and then some we respect the some leaves, carve, nature, something. And then my turn is freestyle. Is freestyle. We don't need to care about some. And then Sogetsu, please explain about the Sogetsu is very different from the old style, school in Japan, the Akane, Toshigawara Sofu created some as art. That's why, so, and then sometimes we, ignore some theory, but sometimes we don't use a container and then some hang on some clay or some any kind of material. Sogetsu is very unique, but many people all over the world have some choose Sogetsu because very creative. And then at your house and then from backyard, you can put in some weeds, you can put in some, and then I show this one is Kendo. You have some called this one frog,
Right.
but the Kenzan is K-E-N-Z-N, very thick, And then, even if this one is, for example, this is carrot flowers made from backyard. Did you know that the carrot flower is white? Do you know the carrot? Do you like a carrot? I forgot that this one is at my backyard. And then I made this container by myself. I fired in the kiln. And then this one is Japanese paper, wax paper. My mother came from Japan, Aomori, north of Japan, and Aomori have a Neputa festival. And then my family and my friends use the Neputa. Iaido! And the Neputa. But the very huge, the Neputa. This is leftover. And my friend gave me this paper, wax paper. I covered this one, and then a very Japanese taste. That's why this is created. And then, this is Mitsubata. Please.
Let me introduce you
Yes,
to.
please.
Okay, so I am going to give you a little background on Sashiko.
Oh, yeah.
And that is that she is actually, as you can hear, a ceramic artist. And she displays her ceramic artwork at the Venture Gallery at the Portola Hotel and Spa in Monterey. So I have a couple of her pieces, I'm very pleased to say. And so that's as much as, so to be an artist in many ways is quite the thing. So she wanted to do more than just ceramic art though, and in 2013, she began to work with Mrs. Jun Matsuoka here as her sensei. So Jun is a Riji, which is the highest level of Sogetsu. Both Sashiko and myself were promoted to second Sanyo. I know you wouldn't have a way of knowing what that was, but it means we completed all 5 of those books, and we've gone beyond that now. So both of us received that certification this year. And Sashiko is a member of, I believe, of this temple, and has been showing or exhibiting her pieces here since 2013. And both of us also exhibit at the Monterey Obon Festival. So her flower name is Saito, am I saying that right?
Saito means west big wave. I'm a west big wave. Yes. West big wave means Nishi Saito means wave. Big wave. West big wave.
That's good for right side for.
Well, if one way or the other, have a wonderful weekend. You too. Have a great day. You too.
Yeah, you too.
Just trying to find a lie. Some people
No, I live in the moment, but she came to visit. Oh, I see.
Do we have a logo?
Sure. Thanks for coming. Thanks for your help yesterday.
So you said that's
No, I was thinking we should have hats or shirts.
It is, but
it's so true.
Oh, what's up? So nice. Honestly, I didn't have one with that.
T-shirt is probably easier to promote our image because you don't really wear everyone.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's a very good idea to have that. I mean, during work, we can. And it should be in this color.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the Salinas Buddhist Temple, or the Buddhist Temple of Salinas, I guess is the proper name. And you may have heard earlier that the temple is celebrating its 100th anniversary this year. In October, will culminate a year of activities with a celebration in October, commemorating 100 years here in the Salinas Valley. And so over those 100 years, the temple has served a largely Japanese and Japanese American community, but as time goes by, we've become more diverse. We're reaching out and taking care of a wider group of people throughout the Salinas Valley, including as far as Monterey and Gonzales. So our efforts have always been to share the teachings of the Buddha with as many people as possible. Anyone who's willing to listen, anyone who's willing to learn a little bit more, we're always willing to share the teachings of the Buddha. And we've been doing that now for 100 years. I'm the resident minister here. This is my last official event here in Salinas. I'm retiring on the 31st of July. So I'm both excited and sad at the same time to be ending my career as a Buddhist minister, although one never really takes, one of my teachers used to say, you never take the robes off. So wherever you go, even when you're not wearing your robes, you are a minister. And so those words have always stayed with me, and they've always made me behave properly. But I've been asked to do an introduction to Buddhism here. And so I want to take a few minutes to share with you some very basic teachings of the Buddha, and also share with you a little bit about our altar here at the temple and some of the significant meaning of the things that you see here. The history of Buddhism dates back 2,500, almost 600 years, from the time of the birth of a young prince named Siddhartha Gautama. And he was born a prince in northern India, and he lost his mother after about 7 weeks after he was born. So very early in life, this young man, Siddhartha, was always contemplating about birth and death, about why there is this suffering that goes on in life. And he saw this throughout his young life. And so when his father wanted him to, of course, take over the throne. He married, he had a son. And it's interesting that he named his son Rahula, which in Sanskrit means feather, something that, or not a feather, what do you call it, a yoke, like a yoke around his neck. And maybe it's not the best name to name your child, but he saw it as sort of not allowing him to really explore the world and keeping him in the palace. So when he reached the age of about 28, he decided that, as many young men in India did at the time, to leave his family and join the monkhood, become a monk. So he left and shaved his head, and the only items that he had was his robe and a begging bowl, and nothing else. And so he left behind all the luxuries of the temple, all the things that it offered. And he had very little to live on. And, you know, the idea of a begging bowl is perhaps not the best word, because it is a bowl that the monks use to ask for food. And they didn't really ask for food, but they went to lay persons, and lay persons then had the opportunity to practice what we call dana, which is selfless sharing. So rather than begging, it was giving people the opportunity of sharing. So the Buddha, the young monk Siddhartha, carried this begging bowl, so-called begging bowl, and traveled around and studied, practiced, meditated with all the great teachers of the time, searching for an answer to why is there human suffering in this world. Okay. And I'll talk about that in a minute, but he spent the next few years, 8 years actually, studying and practicing. And then in December on the 8th, at the age of 35, he was sitting under a tree. It's called a GiPao tree. It's now called a Bodhi tree. And he became enlightened. And he became the Buddha. So what does that mean to be enlightened? And, you know, for me, in very simple terms, it means one who sees the world as it truly is. Now that sounds really nice and easy, but most of us, we look at the world and we see it the way we want it to be. Okay, the Buddha was able to look at the world and see it as it truly is. That's enlightenment. Okay, that's how I define enlightenment. So he was 35 years old, and he sat there for quite a while contemplating this understanding of the world in a different way. And he wasn't sure how to explain it to others. So he sort of formulated this way of sharing his vision, his enlightenment with others. So he got up from under this tree and he visited his fellow monks, and he shared with them this very first teaching that's called the Four Noble Truths. And you may have heard this before, but the Four Noble Truths are the basic teachings of all Buddhist sects. No Buddhist sect does not teach these four truths. So the first truth is that he called it dukkha. And dukkha is a Sanskrit word, which means, literally, it means if you were to build a cart and that cart's axle is off center, it doesn't run smoothly. So dukkha, he described life as this way. Something, you know, we roll along in life, and every once in a while there's this bump. It just doesn't run smoothly. You know, we lose somebody that we love. We lose our jobs. We get divorced. We experience changes that we don't like. This is dukkha. Okay? And he describes it in 8 ways. He said there's birth, there's old age, there's sickness, and then there's death. And then there's not getting along with people. Then there's being separated from people that we love. And then there's our not being able to, we're being limited in the way that we can do things. We're all given these physical attributes. We're all different. Some of us are tall, some of us are short, some of us are good in math, some are good in other things. And these are the attributes that we receive, but we can't all be what we want to be, perhaps. And I will never be, when I was younger, I thought I'd love to be a basketball player. But when you're 5'5", and the body I have, you can't play, well you can, but you're not very good. And so we can't be all that we want to be because of the limitations that we have. So the Buddha described this as, you know, this dukkha. So But then the Buddha thought, this is not the way that we're supposed to live. This world of suffering. There has to be an alternative to this. But there has to be a reason why there is this suffering. So very simply, he said, it's our ego, it's attachment to this self. So the idea that I create the things that I want to be in a certain way. So it's my ego that creates this disagreement with other people. I don't agree with him because he's Republican. I don't agree with him because he's Democratic. I don't agree with him because he comes from a certain place or a certain country. So it's my ego that causes that distinctions that we make. It's my ego that says, I love you and I want you to be with me because you make me happy. But when that person doesn't love me or leaves me, then it hurts. But it's my ego that creates that attachment. It's my ego that creates the idea that I want to be a basketball player, but I can't. So that is the cause for our suffering. It's a self-centered ego that looks at the world the way it wants to see the world. So, again, the Buddha said this is, not the way the world should be. The alternative to that, he called it nirvana, which is a word you've all heard before. Nirvana is equated with enlightenment, Buddhahood. We call it the Pure Land. We call it a lot of different things. But it's nirvana. And nirvana literally means, like the candle that's on the altar here, is to blow out that candle, to extinguish that candle, to blow out or get rid of the ego. That's enlightenment. Now this is not an easy thing to do. Enlightenment is very difficult. If it was easy, we'd all do it. But none of us are enlightened. So the Buddha is an example for us of how one can live their lives and move towards developing ourselves with a deeper understanding of the world and more towards enlightenment or an enlightened view. So our job as Buddhists is to help each other, work with each other as a group to work towards enlightenment. So the fourth truth that the Buddha taught was called the Eightfold Path. Correct view, correct thought, correct speech, correct livelihood, correct effort, correct, what did I miss? Correct speech, did I say? View, thought, speech, effort, livelihood, mindfulness, meditation. So when you think about these eight correct view, correct thought, correct speech, correct view is the first of the eight. And correct view means, as I said in the beginning, to see the world as it truly is. Not the way we want it to be, but the way it truly is. So, if you look at nature, you see nature changing all the time. And you accept that change. But when it comes to our personal life, when changes occur, we have sometimes a difficult time accepting those changes. And again, the old age, sickness, and death are probably three of the ones that we know so well as adults that it's hard to accept those changes. But correct view means to see it for what it truly is. This is life unfolding before us. It's a logical look at the world. This is the way it is. And that's why we call it the truth that the Buddha taught. The correct view is to change our minds into thinking this is the truth of the way life is. If we can embrace that truth and see the world as it truly is, then we start to think differently. When we start to think differently, we start to talk differently. Our speech changes, becomes more kind, compassionate, and concerned for others. Our choice of livelihood changes. Our conduct changes. The things that we endeavor to do changes. And we're more mindful of what we're doing each and every moment. Mindfulness is kind of one of the catchwords now that are very popular. mindfulness means to be aware of where you are right now. Not to think about what you're going to do tomorrow, what you did yesterday, but live in this moment. That's being mindful. The way we do this is through meditation. The eighth of those the Eightfold Path. So meditation helps us gain a better view of the world, and everything falls into place. But it's a constant cycle, and it's a constant work, I guess, that we have to do as Buddhists. So meditation comes in a lot of different forms. So for the Zen Buddhists, it's sitting, it's breathing, it's emptying the mind. You know, in our tradition here, we have our Sunday services, and we, as a group, we chant. We chant the words of the Buddha. They're called sutras, and they're written in classical Chinese. We chant them in the Japanese pronunciation of the Chinese, which means that anyone who comes to our service, even those people who've been coming here for 50, 60 years, they have no idea what they're chanting. It is a foreign language. But the point of it is not to understand it. The point is to just chant and to lose oneself in that chanting. That's our meditative practice. So when you do that, you forget about the traffic, you forget about the weather, you forget about work, you forget about everything else outside of there, and you're just chanting in this moment. So that's meditation, which helps you see the world as it truly is. So every tradition has a different way of meditating, but every type of meditation, its practice is to make us open our hearts and minds to the world as it truly is. And then part of our service here is I give a talk, and I share what we call the Dharma, the teachings of the Buddha. And so when people come into this room, the practice begins as you enter. You are entering a different world, a different place. So most of us go in and out of rooms without thinking about it. You go into the kitchen, you go in the living room, you go in the bathroom. Here, we ask our members as you come in to bow at the back door. So right away, your mind is in a different place. This is not just another room. It's a place where the Dharma, the teachings of the Buddha are shared. So by going through the ritual of bowing, chanting, burning incense, you are putting your mind in a different frame of thought. So then your ego sort of melts away at that time. And you're able to hear teachings of the Buddha without any preconceived notions, without any prejudices, but just hearing. And so when we talk about Buddhism here, we're talking about worldly truths. We're not talking about good or bad. We're talking about how the Buddha accepts everyone just as they are. He understood that how difficult it is to reach enlightenment. None of us come into this room enlightened. All of us come into this room with our egos, with our attachments, with our selfishness, sometimes our greed and our anger. But the Buddha accepts us just as we are, without making judgments about us. And that's the beauty of Buddhism to me, is no matter where you come from, no matter what sort of beliefs you might have, the Buddha accepts us just as we are. And by coming here and listening to the words of the Buddha, hopefully we walk out of this room with a deeper sense of things like impermanence. Everything changes. Nothing stays the same. This is a truth that is universal. And if you understand and appreciate impermanence, then you know that the person sitting next to you, the people you associate with, their life can change in an instant. You know, we all know that life is fragile, but we live it like we don't live forever. Or the people around us are going to be there forever. But if you really understand impermanence, you embrace them in this love and compassion, because life is very fragile. And hopefully you leave this room understanding interdependency, that we're all interrelated, we're all tied together, that everything that we say and do and think affects other people. You know, long after we're dead and gone, the things that we do, things that we say, the things that we think affects other people, well beyond our lives. If we understand that, then we treat each other with a deeper sense of compassion and embrace others as they are. So that's interdependence. And then, hopefully when you leave this room, you have a better understanding of the oneness of all things. That we're deeply entrenched into this universe with the plants and the animals and everything around us. And understanding this oneness of all things, of course, humbles us too. And makes us grateful for what we receive. You know, many of us sit down at a meal and we just start feeding our face saying, oh, this is so good. In our tradition, we try to sit down and put our hands together and say the words Namo Buddhist and Itadakimasu, which means I'm truly humbled by what I receive. Because the oneness of the universe is giving to me this wonderful meal. And that meal is sustaining my life, is giving me life. And so what I do with my life, with that energy I receive, is so important. It's not just my life I'm living. I'm living the life of the cow, or the chicken, or the fish, or the vegetables that have sacrificed their life for me so that I can do. So it's not just my life anymore. So these are the things that we hope to instill in people as they come into this room. And they leave with a better understanding of their relationship to the world around them and the people around them. So I mentioned rituals, and one of the rituals is incense burning. You see 3 incense burnings in front of you. And all of our members, or all the people who come in here, we invite them to burn incense. And incense burning is a tradition that dates back to the time of the Buddha. And when his group, called the Sangha, grew, it grew into hundreds and thousands of people, followers, who became monks. And in India, they have what's called the monsoon season. It's the rainy season. And the monks couldn't travel during the monsoon season. So they would go into the caves, and it's called Ango. And in the caves, they would all share their experiences with each other. You know, how do you answer these questions? How do you deal with people who are like this or like that? And so it was like a conference where they came together and they shared their experiences. But they also helped educate each other on the Dharma. But you have, let's say, 300 to 500 monks in a cave. You know, over the monsoon season, they got pretty funky in there, right? So they burn incense. They would burn sandalwood, and that would purify or get rid of some of that smell inside the cave. Right? So we don't need to do that now because we're all very hygienic. But the incense burning represents a purification, a purifying of our minds and our hearts, so that when you come in here, you are, again, leaving all that stuff outside. You're here to listen. You're here to learn. You're here to grow. And so the incense burning is a reminder to us of that purifying of hearts and minds. But also, it represents impermanence. That when you put the incense into that large bowl, it immediately starts to change from solid to fire, to smoke, and then it disappears. So it reminds us of impermanence. So if you look closely, you'll see there's 2 dragons on either side of that burner. One has its mouth open, one has its mouth closed. It represents birth and death, and everything in between is change. So there are these sort of rituals that are performed that remind us of these truths. So the the main figure here is Amida Buddha. Now you may have heard that the Buddha used to use the term, there's many Buddhas as there are sands on the Ganges River. So you can imagine that's millions and millions of Buddhas. So the one Buddha that we concentrate on is Amida. That is not a real person, but Amida represents infinite wisdom and compassion. So, how does that affect me in my life? So the statue is not standing erect, it's moving forward. That means wisdom and compassion is moving towards us all the time. We're the recipients of compassion and wisdom. So it comes in the form, like I mentioned, of food that comes before us. This is the universe compassionately sustaining my life. We're being taught through many ways, through school, through work, through family, about ourselves. We're being taught all the time about the type of person we are. Sometimes we react with anger, sometimes we react with tears, sometimes we react with kindness. This is teaching us about ourselves through others. This is wisdom entering our lives all the time. That's what this statue represents. So if we understand that we are the recipients of all this wisdom and compassion, the natural, I believe, the natural reaction is a sense of gratitude. I'm so grateful for what I'm receiving. I'm grateful for the life I'm living. And gratitude is probably one of the most greatest motivating factors for us to practice wisdom and compassion with others. So that we share that sense of gratitude with others. So you'll see our members come before me, Buddha, and they'll put their hands together in Gasho. It's a meditative pose that is part of the many that you see the Buddha. But Gasho is the coming together of the world of enlightenment and my world, which is unenlightened. Together, I acknowledge that I am accepted and received, or I am accepted by the Buddha just as I am. So that's, you'll see us Buddhists do this. And so I've been going on a long time. So I just want to kind of mention that this altar represents nirvana. It represents enlightenment. So members come here before the world of enlightenment to hear the truth of enlightenment in this room. So this temple grounds has a lot of buildings, a lot of things going on today, but this is the center of our temple. This is where it all emanates from. Okay? So is that okay, Moniko? Okay. I can answer any questions you might have. I know I covered a lot of things. Yes, sir.
Did you define Dharma?
Define Dharma, okay. So the Dharma is in the vernacular, it's called the law, okay, in Sanskrit. But in Buddhism, it refers to all the teachings of the Buddha. Everything that he said from the age of 35 until he died at 80 is his teaching. That's referred to as the Dharma. Now, I have to qualify that by saying that there have been commentaries based on his words that are still within the realm of the Dharma by great monks and scholars. So, when you read quotes from the Buddha, that's part of the Dharma. So the Buddha said there are three treasures. One is Buddha, the other is Dharma, and the other is Sangha. So Buddha is, of course, the historical Buddha, his life, and his example of the potential that we have as human beings. The Dharma is his teachings, and the Sangha are the followers of Buddhism. So those are the three treasures.
Describe the wheel, please.
Oh, this wheel. It's called the wheel of Dharma. So it symbolizes when the Buddha first gave that first sermon that I talked about, the Four Noble Truths. It was called the turning of the wheel. And it was the beginning of the teachings of the Buddha. So there's 8 spokes on that wheel representing the Eightfold Path that I mentioned. And every Buddhist school in the world uses this symbol to denote that they are a school of Buddhism. So there are hundreds, well, I don't know hundreds, maybe hundreds of different sects of Buddhism around the world, different practices, but they'll all use that symbol as a school of Buddhism. Oh, sure. So we asked about my beads here. So this is called Ojuzu, is a generic term. A Nenju is, in our tradition, we call it a Nenju, or a thought bead. And it was originally, you know what a abacus is? So this is the original abacus. It was used to count meditative practices. How many times you say particular mantra, they would use it to count. And then they use these as, you count around one time and you move these beads down. And so it's used to count. But in our tradition, we don't use it as a counter. We use it as a reminder of the many things that I need to work on. Okay? Which means that there are 108 beads here. Okay? The Buddha said there are 36 things that keep us from being Buddhas. Greed, anger, ignorance, jealousy, attachments, there's 36 of these. They happen in the past, they happen in the present, and they happen in the future. So that's 108. So I carry this 108 beaded Nenju to remind me that I am not a Buddha. I am very far from being a Buddha. I have so much to work on. But even when I can't do those things that get rid of my anger or get rid of my greed, I still am grateful that the Buddha accepts me as I am. So most of our members will carry a smaller version of this, but it's usually in multiples of 9, so that if you count around, it'll get to 108. And it's always carried in the left hand. So if you notice the statue of the Buddha, he has his right hand up and his left hand out. The right hand always represented the world of enlightenment. The left hand always represents the world of unenlightenment. So the beads are always carried in the left hand to remind us of that, those issues that I need to work on. Okay. So many of the pictures of the Buddha you'll see in his summer robes, his right shoulder is bare, his left shoulder is covered. So the right shoulder is bare to represent the world of enlightenment that's untouched by worldly things. Okay. Anybody else? Questions? Okay, we're all enlightened now. And I just want to invite everybody to stick around for the dancing, enjoy the food, enjoy the drink, enjoy the music. I don't know if you heard my opening statements earlier, but Obon, it is a memorial for our ancestors to honor them and show our appreciation to them for what they've given us, to allow us to live our lives. So it's not a sad moment, it is a happy moment. It's a gathering of joy, celebrating what we have because of this. So please enjoy yourselves out there and happy Obon.
And also, He is here somewhere. She was on the women's team, USA, this year at the World Championships. And the men and women's team both placed third place at the World Championships this year. So we're very proud of their accomplishments. We don't have a large group today to help demonstrate, but I have 3 strong, able-bodied volunteers. I have Luna Tanabe here, Kai Eitoku, and Julia Kanimura. And my hope is that someday they will each be part of Team USA. Anyway, sorry about technical difficulties that fade in and out, but anybody can be a great Kendo person. It's not always about winning and losing. Always trying and giving your best. Sometimes physically you might say you're tired, but you have to do things, and just by putting in the effort to try, you find out you can accomplish a lot of great things. So that's the main thing that we teach in Kendo. Not only about competing, which is great if you win, but just being able to cross swords with somebody is the best thing. That's what keeps me going. Explain a little bit about Kendo. Most of you know about samurai, right? They live and die by the sword, protecting their property and lives. To keep their swordsmanship skills, they practice often with wooden bokdos, but they also came up with the idea of tying together 4 bamboo slabs together so that they can actually spar with an opponent, a training partner, at full speed, full contact, but minimizing the injuries by using the 4 slabs tied together. And the design of the shinai has not changed in the centuries that they've been practicing Kendo. Nowadays, Kendo's evolved to a sport where you're just trying to score 2 points, hitting 4 main targets. There will be the top of the head, called the Meng, the wrist, which is called the kote, the side of the body called do, and for the advanced division, we're allowed to lunge for the throat. It's for the advanced divisions, for safety. Years ago, Kendo involved throwing your opponent, and it was a lot more violent of a sport. Now it's refined to hit the targets with enough force, and also with good form. So you're not just trying to beat up somebody by clobbering them. It has to be struck with straight arms, good posture, and a good follow through. So these elements do not require a lot of brute strength. So women do very well practicing against men, and children can practice with adults. So anybody can be like a training partner. We'll start with a warm-up drill called kirikaishi, which involves all the basic elements of Kendo, because there has to be a good yell as well. The yell, kiai, is used to build up the energy in your abilities. The good yell really brings out the strength of your body, your spirit, which is very commonly demonstrated in other sports as well. You can even hear tennis players grunting when they strike the ball, right? Because they've learned how that yell helps bring out the strength of their strikes. Also important in the Kendo is a coordinated step. That's associated with the exact same time of impact of the shinai against their opponent. So it takes a lot of concentration and focus to coordinate your foot movement with the shinai, which is the bamboo sword. Do you want to keep guys also? Next, we'll show you how 3 different bend strikes. Yeah, Julia, you can hit the Menti first. Bowing in Kendo, not only at the beginning and end of practice, but even as we rotate, as we practice with our partners, we're inviting them to give their best as they spar against us, and also as your recipient, you're bowing to try your best with each drill, each strike. Okay? Next, next they'll show you their kote strikes. Next, I'll show you the door strike. Okay, Kai, you can go kote also. Sorry. Next, we'll go on the do, which is the side of the body. Hit no now, right? You do 2 left, and then 1 right. Do either side. The do could be struck on either side, right or left, depending on what's presented. Sometimes there are misses. But we're all used to it, so. Dealing with pain is actually something that's a very valuable lesson, because the more you can deal with pain and be able to do things, the greater your abilities become. You can't let a little bit of pain disturb you from what you need to accomplish. So this is something that we try to encourage, not just to, you're not trying to hurt somebody, but if you are hurt, you're still going to give it your best to fight through it and be able to accomplish something. Next, I'll show you a combination strike of a poka-net. But Kendo is not only for kids. There's no age limit. Kids can practice, adults can practice. There's a tournament in Japan on minimum age of 80 years old.
Oh, wow.
So there's no age limit at the top as well. Kendo is one of the few sports where even after your physical ability declines, then your focus becomes mental, so you can mentally be stronger than the young 20 or 30-year-old guys coming at you, even if you're in your 70s or 80s. So it's one of the very few sports that can be that way. But when we practice against 80-year-old masters in Japan, it's difficult for me to hit them because they're that much better than I am, even at their 70 or 80-year-old ages. Just because their muscle movements are slower doesn't mean they can't beat you. And it's amazing. Because I think, oh, he's 80-something, and hit him. No, I'm not that good yet. And I'm 7th degree black belt, as well as Yujo Nitsuka and Shinji, who is also here helping with the bike. Shinji, he was also a Team USA member at the World Championships years ago too, so I have very capable assistants helping them teach here at Kendo. So I'm very privileged to be able to say that it's our joy to teach Kendo, and that's why we teach with a lot of heart into what we do. That's why the kids end up doing well. We're very proud of our children's accomplishments, our students. Not just children, some of our students are adults as well. They're good students. As we practice, even if we're called sensei, we're still learning how to get better. Because my assistants and I, we have aspirations to someday test for an 8th degree test. That's in the Guinness Book of World Records as the most difficult test to pass in the world. Is the 8th degree Kendo test in Japan. There's only a 0.5% of passing rate in the Kendo exam. It's held 4 or 5 times a year in different venues in Japan. And consistently, out of 700 or 800 applicants, only 5 or 6 make it pass. Every time. Every time. Next, we'll have a short sparring kickball practice. So in Kendo, there's no coordinated motions. The free practice is free practice. That man was almost in. With a follow through, it could have been a point. struck in a session. But as I said, the judges are looking for good contact, good form, but also good follow through. You want to be the judge? Hi. They practice with each other quite often, so they know what their opponent's favorite moves are, so they're kind of hesitant right now, even though it's not a tournament. Still don't want to lose in practice as well. But that was a good Kote Luna hit, right? Very good hit. Luna got a nice kote. All right, hopefully this microphone works a little better. All right. We practice here in Salinas, right here in the gym, on Monday and Thursday nights. We also practice at the Monterey YMCA on Wednesday nights. We often have guest senseis and other non-senseis coming to practice with us pretty often, especially on Monday nights, because they want to get better by practicing with this as well. We're open to the public. If people want to come in, just check us out. They can ask about joining us if they want to. As I say, there's no age limits. Another related martial art to Kendo is Iaido, which will be demonstrated here by Cynthia Tanabe Sensei and also Scott Chang Sensei, who will narrate. Tanabe Sensei is one of the highest ranking Iaido instructors in Northern California. So we're very, well, highest in California, sorry. I know she is highest in Northern California. So if you want to learn EI properly in California, this is the right place to be. Scott, who will be narrating, is also an EI practitioner and is accomplished as a 7th degree in his EI as well. So we're very proud that he chose to work and live here in Salinas because of our Kendo Dojo. So I hand my mic over to Scott. Thank you.
Thank you, Eitoku Sensei. So my name is Scott Chang. I'm a member here with the Salinas Kendo Dojo. I also practice Iaido. And I'd like to once again welcome and introduce Cynthia Tanabe Sensei, who will be demonstrating Iaido. So Iaido, the difference between Iaido and Kendo, where Kendo could be like Japanese fencing, Iaido is more about Japanese swordsmanship. Both are traditional Japanese martial arts. And as is with any Japanese martial art, we always start with ureigi, which is the etiquette and the protocol to clear our mind and get ourselves ready for our practice. So we'd like to begin our Iai demonstration. So we have different bows for different purposes. The first bow, the standing bow, is a haire, which is bow to kind of welcome ourselves into practice. Next is tore. Tore is the bow to the sword. And as you probably all know, for samurai, the Japanese sword is very valuable because it was a tool that protected their life. So we must make sure that we acknowledge and pay the respects. And in the dojo, there's actually a third bow called shire, which is instructor and student. But for today's demonstration, we just have the haire and torei. So in the history of Iai, there are many, many different styles that are still practiced today. The Iai demonstration today will show you some forms from Seitei Kata. Seitei is a kind of a formulation of Iai that's drawn from all the various styles. Back in the early 1900s, when they were formulating, they drew from different sources so that all the styles could have a common set of forms to be able to practice from. So this first one is called Mae. In all the different forms, we try to practice, against an imaginary opponent. Just like Kendo, we have to maintain the proper distance. We have to cut with the correct portions of the sword. So as you watch Tanabe Sensei do the demonstration, see if you can imagine, her imaginary opponents and how she is cutting them down. This second form that she's demonstrating is called Ukenagashi. It's a flowing block where it deflects and then she counters immediately and strikes back at her opponent. This next one is called Kesagiri. It is a slash from downward stroke to up, and then followed by immediate downward strike back. This one is called Mototezuki, which is a two-handed thrust strike to start the attack against her opponent. There's a rear opponent that she immediately faces, and once dispatched, she again faces the forward opponent. So in Seitei Kata, there are a total of 12 forms called waza, and those are the common forms formulated for the purpose of having a common form between all of the different styles. This one is called shibogiri, forward direction cut. Again, as she demonstrates, see if you can imagine her opponent, where she is cutting and slashing, and how she is controlling the distance with her opponent. This one is called Sogiri. It is continuous opponents coming from the front. So those were all forms from the seite kata, and we'd also next like to show you some koryu. So koryu just means like the traditional forms of swordsmanship. There are many different styles. Tanabe Sensei's style is Yagyu Shinkageryu. So watch her perform some of her koryu waza. In the history of all the different swordsmanship styles, there are many, many different ideas and methods on how to use the sword. Some of these ideas are drawn from actual experience that samurai had back in their days. Some are also philosophical ideas on how they should treat their opponent, how they should treat their sword, and the kind of the coming together of both. Yagyu Shinkageryu in Japanese history was also one of the protected styles of the Japanese shogunate. It was one of the official sword styles of the shogun. I should say the shogun government. So opponents can come from any direction, and samurai had to be ready to deal with potential dangers from any direction. As part of practice for swordsmanship, we always strive to be the quote-unquote in the zone, just like in sports. We have to have the concentration so that we can react appropriately to anything that can come our way. And after our practice, just as we did at the beginning, we have to show our acknowledgement and respect to our art. So we have an ending reiki. So again, this is Tore, which is about the sword. And we finish off with Haire. Thank you very much. That's the conclusion of our Iaido demonstration. So once again, let's give a round of applause for Cynthia Tanabe-sensei.
So for the first time, we have a new Taiko group here in Salinas. This is Shinsho, Mugen, Daiko from Monterey. And they're all ladies. Lady power, yeah. So I think it's going to be a real treat. Let's hear for them. Please give a big welcome for them.
Hello everyone, my name is Ikuyo Conant. We are Shinsho Mugen Daiko. Just to tell you about the history of our group. Shinsho Mugen Daiko was established in September 1999, which makes its 25th this year. Our focus is on, it's been for a while. Our focus is on cultivating physical, emotional, and spiritual energies, ensuring holistic development of our members. Taiko's physical training strengthens the core and develops endurance, coordination, speed, agility, and balance allowing the drummer to create deep, audible and inaudible vibrations. The physical training is extended to a non-physical training of spiritual combat and the quest for self. It's very important for us to know who we are. We practice comprehensive Taiko training which values the unity of the body, mind and spirit. Many people, each with their own reasons, are drawn to Taiko because its inclusive nature. Taiko can be interpreted in various ways: musical training, spiritual training, community building, exercise, and acquiring good manners. Shinsho Mugen Daiko, with its 4 defining elements, which are sound and rhythm, form, attitude, and the ki, which means energy, welcomes all the interpretations. These elements form the foundation of our drumming community, guiding us in our musical and personal development and fostering a supportive and inclusive environment. We're going to play 4 pieces today. The first piece is called Takinobori, which means going upstream. Talk about this music. Takinobori, a musical narration by Taiko, holds a significant place in Japanese culture. Its story revolves around carp swimming upstream against a powerful current, reaching the Dragon Gate waterfall and transforming into mighty dragons. This narrative symbolizes resilience and a transformation, reflecting the cultural values of perseverance and growth. This music was composed to celebrate Children's Day, which is celebrated on May 5th in Japan. Children's Day is celebrated by putting carp and streamers in the sky. Parents' wishes for their children are represented in the carp swimming against the stream of gushing water to go upstream. Parents hope that children will grow strong enough to face struggles. The first piece, Takinobori, going upstream. So that was Takinobori. I think many of them made it to the top of the waterfall, I hope. The next piece is called the Zui. This is one of the pieces from our Taiko story, Dragon Gate, just like the one we just did, Takinobori. But a young cub growing aware of its ability to become a dragon. In Japan, cubs are believed to be dragons in disguise. To become a dragon, a young cub must go upstream and climb the waterfall called the Dragon Gate. This is a near impossible task. Yet many cubs try to climb the waterfall believing in the potential. Now let's talk about the little dragon. Asian dragon is a little different looking than Western dragon. I think Western dragon is more like upright and long and a big tail. And that's how the Eastern dragon is more like a snake-like. Asians views the mystical creature in awe. It represents the four elements of nature: earth, fire, water, and air. The dragon dwells in Earth's cave, breathes with fire, can fly without wings, and it's covered with the scale of fish. In the dragon exists a being that unifies the elements of nature with the inner world of emotion and unconsciousness. Such unification is paradoxically a combination of opposite, which is material and spiritual, light and dark. and creation and destruction. The spirit of dragon represents unifying force that underline the opposite, the state of contradiction we live in. And that's what we have to struggle through. So the Zui is about this emotional energy of youth. A naive young cub grows up in a carefree, quiet pond deep in the forest. He knows nothing about the world beyond. The pond is free of predators, and there's always plenty to eat. The young cub swims about as if the world were his own. Zui. next piece is going to be taken from the Japanese mythology and called Ame no Mibashira. And then two deities, Izanami and Izanagi, were ordered by older deities to create its island in Japan. They descend on the floating bridge of heavens, steer the primordial ocean with the heavenly sphere, and created the first island, Onogorojima. Then they made the heavenly column called Ame no Mibashira, or some people call Ama no Mibashira, in island center. This music served the pole which unite heaven and earth. Originally, this music was composed for Daiko, which is a very big Daiko, and to be played by two people and symbolize two God, one God and goddess. But for this piece, this time we're going to use the two Daiko, which is a medium size, to play with everyone. The next piece is Ame no Mibashira, the heavenly column. This is a festival song for the children, or children's heart, people with a children's heart. Last song, Kodonbayashi.
Stop!
Thank you very much for having us, and please have a nice evening and also enjoy the abundance. Thank you very much.
everyone. Thank you very much for attending our service prior to the dancing of Odori. And it's a tradition here in our temples before the dancing to conduct a short service, memorial service in memory of our loved ones. So I'd like to begin with the sutra chanting of the Sambujo. And if you'll look in your large service book, you'll find the Sambujo on page 24. And then following the chanting of the Sambujo, chant the Musei, which you'll find on page 92 of that same book. So we'll begin on page 24, and then we'll proceed to page 92 of the large temple service. Namam Dabas, Namam Dabas, Namam Dabas, Namam Dabas, Namam Dabas. Thank you everyone for participating in our 2024 Obon service prior to the Odori. And this is my last time doing this here in Salinas. So it's a little bittersweet for me. And as I look around, I'm going to miss many faces and the fun times of Obon. Although next year when I'm retired, I will be out there for the year, enjoying the Obon. I always enjoy it, but this day is about celebration, a celebration of joy of family and friends. But it's also about loss. You know, every one of us has experienced loss in some form or another. No matter how old or how young, when we lose someone, there's an emptiness in our lives that can never, ever be filled. We still want to do something for our loved ones, but we feel helpless. We don't know what to do. We cannot think about what to do. There are many things we wish we could say to them. And again, we feel helpless. We cannot say to them. And although we like to tell ourselves that we have no regrets over the loss, there are still things we wish we could have done. There are still things that we wish we could have said. And we feel helpless. This is natural. This is being human. This is about having a relationship with someone. And it is natural. But our loved ones who we remember today who have passed away. Today is about finding other ways to express our love and our concern for them. We must find other ways to express our gratitude to them for all that we receive. How can we do this? Even this, we feel helpless. We feel it's difficult to find the words, to find the actions, to express how we feel and express this gratitude. Obon is a story about the Buddha and his relationship with one of his disciples. His name was Mongolian. And Mongolian was a son whose mother had passed away. And Mongolian felt anxiety about his mother's passing. He asked himself, is she okay? What happened to her? What can I do for my mother? So he went to the Buddha, and the Buddha said to him, as he was worried about his mother, he told Mongolian, there's nothing you can do in your power as a human being to help your mother. What you can do is hold a memorial service and have a feast in memory of your mother. And by holding a memorial service, you honor her. You remember her. You will reminisce about her and her life. And you will be reminded of her ongoing influence on your life. And as you hold a feast in her memory, you will be celebrating her life. This is what Obon is about. It's about the memorial for your loved one. But it's about celebrating their life. So Shakyamuni Buddha told Mongolian, of course your mother did all she could for you, and for that you should be truly grateful. But this moment, now, us here and now, this is our opportunity to express and do all that we were not able to do for them. Now is an opportunity to say and do all the things that we wish we could have done for them. And so that is why, prior to the dancing and the celebration, we hold this memorial service. And when Mongolian held the memorial for his mother, he was freed from his anxiety. And being freed from his anxiety, what did he do? He danced for joy. He leapt for joy. And that is why we call today Kangye, a gathering of joy. So we have this time for our family members, and we have lanterns hanging outside as a reminder of the light that shines from the boundless life of our loved ones. That light is a constant reminder of what we have received and how their lives continue to take effect upon us each and every day. In our tradition, we put our hands together and we say the words Namo Amida, and we express in those words all the thoughts, all the words, all the deeds that we wish to bestow upon our family members. So today, we are reminded of what we have received and what we continue to receive from them. It is a time to express all that we wish to say, all that we wish to do. Therefore, it is a time of great joy. And as Mongolian did, we dance for joy. So in a few minutes, we will ask everyone to please come forward and burn incense in memory of your family members, whether gone this month, last month, or 20 years ago. Burn incense in their memory. And then join us outside and dance together in memory of your life. Thank you very much. Please join me in Daisho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you. I now invite you all to come forward and burn incense, and then we'll go outside for the dance.